Greetings and welcome to the Transform Podcast. This is your host, Christopher Anastasio. This is episode 48, and it is Wednesday, April 6th, 2022. And I'm glad to be back with you guys this week. First of two episodes that we'll be publishing for you this week. We wrapped up last week, episode 47, with a quick discussion about repurposing content and looking at different ways that you can creatively repurpose content. That was kind of a fun episode, just, kind of thinking on the fly about different tactics you can use to turn one product into many products, from a social or digital perspective. So definitely check that episode out if you guys get a chance. That's episode 47. Today's episode is more of, I would describe it as a bit of a preview of future content that will be coming your way, here, elsewhere from Transform channels, but basically kind of leading off the discussion with you guys about paid traffic and the use of paid traffic, the tactic and the strategy behind it, tactics and strategies behind using paid ads versus organic traffic. If you look at our episode lineup and you kind of breeze through it, there really isn't much there about paid traffic and using it and incorporating it into your overall digital strategy. I mean, I'm sure somewhere in those 47 episodes it has come up, and I've alluded to it or spoken directly about it. In fact, I know when we talk about the different types of traffic, that's certainly something we've covered. We talk organic, paid, email, traffic you earn, traffic you buy, and traffic you own. Those three different types. But we really, to date, have not used this platform to talk to you guys about really how you implement paid traffic, how you, assemble an ad, which platforms you should be using, or how you build different ads on different platforms. I mean, there's so much ground to cover there, guys. And, to be quite frank with you, it's a very deep technical discipline in a lot of ways, how you use these ad platforms and bid for keywords and set your budgets and, try different creatives and put in different copyright. I mean, probably could do a podcast just about paid traffic or, any of these other topics that we've talked about on the podcast here. So I don't want to promise you guys that this will turn into like a Facebook ad tutorial or, you'll get all things, Facebook ads or YouTube ads or anything like that from the podcast. So that's not necessarily what we're previewing today, but I think what struck me, what I realized was that, 99% of the attention that I was putting out there was towards the branding effect that we champion so much and how you build that over periods of time with organic, by earning organic traffic, by posting organic content and things of that nature. And that's really the long game and the kind of thing that we've chosen in a deliberate way to focus on. But I think what's worth pointing out in this episode is that we definitely want to cover more about paid traffic. We will talk to you guys more about using paid ads and how you might incorporate them or why you might use them, and trying to match up the platform to the objective that you have, and that sort of thing. And I think the main takeaway that I really have for you on this episode is, especially if you're new to this area, I mean, if you've been doing a lot of your own digital marketing and if you understand the nuances of paid advertising and why it's not, it's not going to create overnight success or, it's not, just turning on a cash register and collecting the cash. There's still, still a process and still a certain amount of effort, that has to be put into that. Then, what we're talking about here is probably not going to be tremendously useful to you, although I encourage you to listen to future episodes where we go into a little bit more detail on it, and you may glean some tips and insights there. But what I do want to say here, for the novice to paid ads, to somebody who hasn't tried them before, to somebody who's just starting out with it, maybe you're trying to make a decision as to whether you should incorporate them and to what extent you should incorporate them, and all those types of factors, is that paid ads versus organic posting, organic content creation and development and posting is really a question of speed and how much time you have to return a result. And I know, I mean, it's not technical, and I know that doesn't, probably scratch the itch for someone who does want to go technical on this stuff to think of it this way. But when you're trying to decide which one to use, that's at its essence the question you're actually answering. If you say, let's say I was talking to somebody right now about their digital marketing. We were just starting out. We just started the relationship. And I was like, okay, what is your time horizon? When do you need to see results? And let's say that person said, well, I've got some time. I need to see results in the next year. I would say, okay, we're going to largely focus on organic content development. And, maybe there's going to be some paid ads. Maybe we're going to use them strategically to kind of speed some things up along the way or whatever. But largely speaking, if somebody said, I've got 12 months, I would say, okay, your center of gravity is going to be organic content. Unless, look, if you have money to burn and you just want to blow money on ads and see what happens, totally different story. But I'm talking about somebody who has a certain level of budget consciousness, is kind of, thinking of this as rigorously as they possibly can. That's where I would steer them, towards the organic route. But if I sat across from that same person, they said, look, Chris, I need to make sales in the next 90 days. Like, I've got to move product in the next 3 months or less. Then organic content posting and development and, all kinds of bells and whistles you can come up with that, it's not going to do you any good. I mean, it's going to do you good in the long run, and you might as well lay the foundation if you can, but the bottom line is you are not going to get a whole lot of product moved off of organic content only in a 90-day window. Just not going to happen. So if somebody gives me a timeline like that, I already generally at the very, very high level know what they need. They need to pay for traffic. They need to pay to put eyeballs on their website, on their Shopify store, on their landing page to sign up for a demo, whatever the case might be. Okay, that's the route they have to take. They just have to go with paid ads in that kind of time frame. So, that's really, guys, what you're asking yourself when you ask yourself which one you are up for doing, or which one you're going to prioritize. A lot of cases, a lot of clients we work with, yes, there's both of them going on. There's paid ads, there's organic traffic being generated through organic posting and so forth. But, it's really like, okay, which one is really the one that's going to get the focus out of the gate? Which is the one that's going to get the lion's share of the effort and the equity from all the labor that's going into it. So that's the starting point, guys. I think, the cost of running ads is going to vary depending on, what your area is that you're targeting, what keywords and interests and the whole ad profile is going to kind of spit out a cost that can be variable. And for some people, running ads is not going to be as costly as for others. So there's a lot of variation in there, just in the sense of how much it's going to cost you to do this. But I definitely think you guys have to first wrap your arms around that very high level construct / objective, whatever you want to call it, of when are you trying to return results, and that's going to lead you to the next step. That's going to inform you as to which way you go from a paid or organic perspective. Okay, and so that's really all I had for you guys today. I kind of wanted to tee that up. I wanted to put that out there. I'd love to see what questions and comments you guys have about it. I've watched ads go out before, for difficult niches, for difficult topic areas, and seen them work. I've seen, a fledgling YouTube channel that's not getting hardly any views revert to YouTube ads and suddenly start getting hits and leads and phone calls and so forth. They work. They absolutely work. If you're kind of new to this and you're skeptical, I can disabuse you of the notion that it's a waste of money. It absolutely can make a difference for your business. But you have to understand what you're trading off. Obviously, you're trading time and money, right, in the first question that I mentioned when I said how fast do you need it, right? But the other thing that, is for a separate discussion and something we've already really tilled this ground on in a lot of other episodes is that when you move the focus away from organic content, in some ways you kind of suspend your brand building, or you kind of hamper it a little bit. You handicap it, because it's not to say that you can't build brand and run ads, but if you're focused on trying to grab the attention of people who really have not necessarily warmed up to you, right? You're really kind of pulling this sort of cold traffic in from the universe, the web, the webiverse, at large, right? And you're just grabbing, people in from that space and just throwing your brand in front of them. I mean, that's a tough transaction to make in terms of brand building, right? You just have brand new eyeballs coming in and looking at your stuff, and it's going to take time for them to look at you a certain way. So that's where, the organic achieves that when done, effectively and consistently. And if you really turn away from it and you look only at paid traffic as a quick fix, you've got to know what you're giving up. Obviously, you're giving up money, but you're also giving up that brand building and that strategic positioning and so on. So just kind of wanted to close on that, guys. It's definitely something that we will talk about more here on the Transform podcast. We absolutely will cover more about the basics of putting ads together and what things you need to look out for and different tips and tricks and stuff like that. I don't want to really say the word trick. It's not. There's no trick to it. It's really doing the right things and testing and experimenting and so forth. But anyway, guys, that's just kind of whet your appetite a little bit about it. I know, like I said, kind of a glaring omission to some degree here in the first 47 episodes, so definitely wanted to kind of put a marker down for it here on episode 48. So anyway, guys, we're going to wrap it up here. We will be back, like I said, with episode 49 later this week, and then, momentous episode 50 coming out next week. Super excited about that. But, follow us over on Facebook and LinkedIn under Transform. Check out the website, transform.com. Subscribe to the podcast. Share it, like it, spread it far and wide. We can't thank you enough for doing that. But we're going to go ahead and wrap up here, guys. Hope everybody has a great night, great Wednesday, hump day heading into the rest of the week. And we'll definitely be talking to you guys again by, probably have the next episode out by Friday evening. All right, guys. So, again, thank you so much for listening, and we will talk to you again soon. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.